Hi, welcome to a video about the TilePane in JavaFX. Let's try to look at what we can do with the TilePane. So in the TilePane, if you remember, we have equally sized tiles, which can never be of different size. Of course, I said they were equal, but we have other things like in the GridPane, we can have different sizes, but in here, they will always have the same size. Let me show you something where we can actually use that. It will look kind of nice because everything is the same size, so it will look quite orderly, and we often see something like that on web pages where we show things in tiles or something like that, or if we want to show something in tables or something like that, tile panes are very useful for that. So let's get to it. So I was working with the HBox, so I think let's just delete all of that. And then save it and then open up Scene Builder and then going directly for the tile pane. Okay, delete. So if we go for the tile pane, put it in here. So now we have a tile pane. Obviously there's no big difference right now, so let me show you. Let's try to use my favorite, like use buttons here. Like this, we'll put a button in here, button in here, button in here. And right away, it looks a lot like the HBox, but there are some big differences to that. So the big difference is that we can, when we resize it, let me show you. So we have them in a grid and they actually kind of flow like that. So this is kind of nice. But there's also another cool feature that we can use. If we go into the layout part of it, we can actually see that there's something special going on here. Like it says specific, so it's because it's specific for the tile pane. So we could set something like the preferred height and width of the tiles. So if I want the tile width to be something special, let's say I want it to be 200 pixels, it will actually fill them out with 200 pixels like that. And still they will flow. They will just like they are a lot bigger than they really are. And then we can set something like, let's go down, maybe 200 was a bit overkill, 150 and 50 here. So this way we can lay out things nicely. So if we wanted to do, oftentimes we would do something like this with things like if we want to sell something, let's say we want to sell a drink or something like that, then we would want to put something in here that would be the drink name and an image and stuff like that. So let's try to look at how we can do that. So right now I have these buttons. I'm just going to remove them, but I'm going to keep the layout that I did before. And then let's try to put something, I'll show it in here first, the image view. So image views are pretty nice. And let's try to, for the image view, we can actually load images. And I prepared something, like I just downloaded. That's weird. Oh, I may have moved it. So now I just magically they appeared. I just had to download them. Sorry about that. So here I have some images of different kinds of drinks. I'll take the green one, click open, and then I have the image in here. We can see that the size of the image is not very pleasant here. So I think let's go for the tiles. Let's make the tile height 150 as well, maybe 200 like that, and then the tile width 150. That's fine for now. So I can put all more images in here, and you can probably imagine that these would be, look nice when we put more of them here. So there's another drink and so forth. So let's try to put them in dynamically, because this is where the power of this tiled thing here comes in. So I'll just remove them again. It hangs for a second. I'll remove that one. For some reason, it takes some time. So I just had to restart Scene Builder. There's some problem. I deleted everything, started up with a new Fxml file. So what I wanted to show for this video was the tile pane. So I think the easiest thing is just to look like this, tile pane, and I'll put it in. So let's try to put something in here dynamically. I want to set the layout again. Let's set the layout for, let's see, preferred height width was 150, and the preferred tile height was like, let's go for 200 for that. Okay. And it also said something about the amount of preferred columns and rows. So this is what it will set up immediately. Also, we set the size for it. So let's see how all of that is affected. First off, let's try to put something in here. I need to save it first. Go back and we can see here. I forgot one thing though. I actually forgot to put the FX controller. I forgot to put that in here like that. So now I should be able to run it. It should be empty and everything. Okay, so let's see, probably inside here I try to do something that I can't do right now. So I'll just try removing that. Go again. And now we can see we have the application, and we cannot see the tiles, but they are probably there. So next thing is I need to import that Fxml. So I'm also going to give this an FX ID, and you can do this from Scene Builder if you're more comfortable. And the FX ID for this will just be TilePane. I'll save that, go back to my controller, and instead of the HBox, I'll use a TilePane. And of course, I need to change this into TilePane, and I also need to import TilePane. So if you haven't done that, up here you need to press Alt-Enter. Then it's imported automatically. So that's it. So now we have a TilePane. So now we can try and put the buttons like before. So let me just remove this. I'll just put some buttons in there. Get children, add buttons. Let's see what's going on. And we can see that it holds up the different widths and heights that we set. And we can see that the buttons have some dots here. That's because the button is bigger than the preferred height for the cells. So unlike AnchorPanes and the others, these won't just push up the size of the tiles, and they will flow nicely like that. But let's try to do something a bit more cool than this. Let's try to actually put in something like a drink with text and everything. For that, we shouldn't have a button. We should have something like a label. Let's call it LBL description with a like this. And of course we need to import that Alt-Enter. And it needs to be JavaFX, of course, like this. Equals new label, and then we can set immediately whatever the text of the label should be. Then drink description, I'll just write that. Blah. So that's a label. Furthermore, we would want to have something like an image, like I showed before. So we take an image view and we say new image view, and we can see that the image view here, sorry, we can put inside which image that we want to, sorry, which image that we want to use here. So in order to do this, we need to load an image. So I'm going to do something here just to make it easier to work with the images. So first off, right now I don't have any resources in my program here. Let's just outcomment this so we don't get any errors. So I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm just going to call that like a normal directory, and I'm just going to call that resources. So I'm going to call it resources and press enter. So now I have that. And in my case, it automatically recognizes, I don't know if you can see that, but it automatically recognizes this as resources because in a previous case, I actually used this. But what you can do is you can go in here and you can go for mark directory as resources root. So if you haven't done that before, you need to go in here, mark directory as not test resources, but resources root. This way it makes it easier to load them. It will copy it into the out folder when we work with that. Okay, so inside of that, I like to make another directory. And this one I'm just going to call images. And then I want to put all of my images in there. So I have my pictures here. I'll just copy those. And maybe I can just paste them directly in here like this. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so when I create my image view here, I need to specify which image I want to use. But first I need to correct a small error. I think I did an error. I can see I imported JavaFX Swing, which is definitely not Swing I wanted to import here. So let's remove that and let's just go and see which class is it that we want to import it, but definitely not Java Swing. We want it JavaFX like that. So the next thing we want to put in which image we want to use. And the cool thing is we can just put in a text here. So if I want to put in drink number 1, I just need to put in the source for that as a string. It can be kind of hard to know how does IntelliJ actually copy this into the out folder. But when you mark it as a resources folder, you can use this small cool feature where you right click and you say something like copy path. And then you can go for different things like absolute, which is probably not a good idea, file name. So what I can use here is the path from source root. So if I use that in here, and run this, it should almost work. So nothing, let's just add that to the pane. So I'm going to say TilePane get children, add image view like that. And let's see, so we are adding 10 of them, be aware of that. So this way we can actually add them pretty easily and they will be copied there. But what we can see now is also that it doesn't fit very well because the images are in their original sizes. So we would like to maybe make them a bit smaller. So when we're just adding it like this, it's kind of hard to change the size of the image. But we could say something like image view and then get image. So we'll get it out as an image. The constructor here will automatically create an image from this and save it in here. So we can say, we can use some of the methods in here to to actually set the height and width of the image in here. We can also use on the image view itself, there is something here to set the, let's go fit width and fit height. And then we can set the amount of the width we want to use. And we used 150. So if we do that, let's try to see what goes. So now it's really not looking very good. And then we use image view set fit height like 200. I think we set it to that. So now it looks pretty nice. So we can see that it tiles nicely and it even flows. And the size of the images will follow the minimum size. So if I make it smaller, like I do this 75 by 100 here, we can see that they will have spacing around them. They will be put in the middle because I set that. That is the default that they are in the middle. We can also set them in the top corner or something, but this way they will still tile around nicely. So let's try to put some text there as well. So one of the ways we can put image and label together, we could be like, let's make a label like price equals new label 5, I don't know, pounds. Let's try to use that. So 5 pounds for the, I don't know if you do like this, maybe. We have a price label, description label, and an image view. So let's try to put that together in code. So I'll just say something like AnchorPane. I could use that for laying it out. Or maybe, because we know the also HBox and VBox, would maybe be, box. It would maybe be nice to have a VBox that we could put these elements inside of. So if I say that in this VBox, I'm going to get children, add, and then I can put the image view first. Then I say VBox, get children, add. Then I add the price and VBox, get children, add, and then the description. So now I should have the image, price, and description put into a VBox so that they go nicely. Let's try to run it. And so instead of adding the images, I could add the VBox inside of the TilePane. Because I'm doing this in a loop, I'll get one VBox per loop. So instead of adding the image view, I add the VBox. Maybe I should just move this setting of the image view up here where I think it belongs. So we kind of create the two labels, the image view, set the size of the image view, create a VBox, add all of these 3 to the VBox, and then we add the VBoxes to the TilePane. And we do this 10 times. And we can now see that the VBox is actually doing its own work here. So we're doing drink description. We have the 5 pound here, and we have this. So this way we can have, and we could also have different drinks. Now I called them drink 1, 2, 3, 4, so it should be pretty easy. So let's say string file name equals drink, and then plus something plus .jpg, because that's what they're named. And maybe I could just like do like this. And I should put something here. If I put 1 here, it would actually could put that in here, the name, and it should do the same thing. Let's just test that I didn't break anything. It looks nice. So I could put 2 here, and then I would have the other drink. Cool. So what I could do then, I could say random. And I put some seed in here just to make it the same images each time. And I say ran dot get in, sorry, next int. And I bound that to 5. That will give me from 0 to 4. So I think I'll bind it to 4, and I'll add 1. And I need to put this in parentheses so that it doesn't count them as a string. So that means it will give me a number from 0 to 3 and add 1 to that. That will effectively give me a number from 1 to 4. So this way I should be able to use all of my images, and they should look the same with this seed here. So if I run it again, I should have the same images in the same places. If I changed my seed, I get another sequence of images like this. So, and if I remove the seed, I'll get random ones each time. Okay, so this is, I think it's a pretty cool way if you want something like this where you need a coherent thing that looks put up nicely. And of course you can put this into an AnchorPane, you can put this into another VBox or another HBox, whatever you want to do, and make that part of a cool setup. You can put the padding in here if you want to, whatever you need to do. So I think it's a really cool thing to do. The only thing is that it's not very flexible in the sense that one element in here will always have the same size. But that inflexibility is also very powerful for doing something like this, because it will look very nice because everything is equally scaled. So it looks pretty nice. Of course, you need to be aware that the image sizes, you need to set that to some width, and you need to scale that somehow. Now, I was quite lucky that the images fit with this so that it's not stretched. So maybe you should look into resizing images without ruining the constraints of the image. I think that would be probably a good idea instead of just hard coding it like this. But this was just for an example. So this is a bit more complicated example for showing how we can do that. And I think I want to reuse kind of this drink price description thing, reuse that for some showing off some of the other things that you can do with this. So that's it for the TilePane, and we got around to a bit more than just the TilePane. So in the next video, let's try to look at the GridPane, which is different and somewhat the same.